Hey everyone, I'm Anna. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we are going to kick back, relax, and paint some abstract watercolor stones. And just a quick reminder, if you enjoyed today's video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, leave a comment with your thoughts, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share with a friend. Any and all of those things are a great way to support the channel, and I really appreciate it. And with that, let's jump into the project. So you're not going to need very many materials for this painting today, just some 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. This is the kind I use. You also want some washi tape to tape off the outer edges and kind of divide it up because we'll be making two paintings. For your watercolor palette, you can use anything. I'm using an earthy palette. It's Essence from Prima Marketing. I really like it. The colors are really beautiful and all blend very nicely together. For brush, I'm using a number 6 round brush. You can use any kind of brush that you feel comfortable with. We'll also be doing some detailing at the end. I like to use an oil-based paint pen. Gold or white should work just fine. You'll also want a spray bottle to activate your pigments, a jar of water, and paper towels. And that's it. Let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is spritz our palette with a little bit of water to activate the pigments. Let that sit for a minute, and while it's sitting, pick 2 colors to use for your first stone. Then you'll wet your brush and apply your 2 colors in a rounded, stony formation. So you can do this a couple of ways. You can make kind of an imperfect oval shape, or you can do like what I'm doing and just applying patches of color and then connecting them together. The idea is to let go of having some perfect oval or perfect circle. It's an organic, natural stone, so let it be that. And you can use as much or as little of each color as you like for this first layer. There's no wrong way to do it. So once you've laid down that first layer of your stone, with the watercolor still wet, we're going to add in more color. This is a technique called wet on wet. By applying wet paint to an already wet surface, you let go of control and allow the color to flow freely. For example, here where I'm tapping blue into that blue is blossoming and blending with the purple on its own. It just requires a light touch from me, and I get to watch it unfurl into something really beautiful. Because of its fluidity, I find that the wet on wet technique works very well for creating organic looking washes, like with our stones today. And fair warning, it's very easy to lose track of time when you're doing this kind of painting. I know I kind of get lost in playing with the colors and watching them do their thing. So maybe give yourself a little extra time for this one, just so you can really relax into it. As for this stone, I'm going to be just adding a little more intensity with some of this purple, and I'm going to go until it looks done. And I invite you to do the same with your stone. I will check in again when it's time for our second one. Okay, the first stone is complete, the foundation anyway. So let's move on to the second stone. Now for the second stone, let's use 3 different colors. I'm going to use a yellow, a teal, and that light blue that I used in the first stone. I am going to cut these paintings apart at the end, but I still want them to be a set, so I want them to share one foundational color. You certainly don't have to do that, but it is a simple and subtle way to coordinate the two if you do want them as a set. And again, we're using the wet on wet technique, so you can either create an organic looking oval and fill it in, or you can lay down patches of color and connect them like I'm doing here. Once you get the first wet layer applied, you can start adding the second wet layer into it and watch the colors bloom. Once your second stone is done, let everything dry completely, and then we'll move on to the detailing. Okay, so these stones are dry to the touch. I'm going to decorate with a little bit of gold. So like I said, this is an oil-based paint pen. I always shake mine up a little bit and get the juices flowing out of it. Now, if you want, you can make concentric circles starting from the middle and moving out. You can do little dots, you can do lines. I'm going to do a technique here where I press the nib against the paper and it lets out a little puddle of gold. And I like to bring that puddle of gold out to a point. I think that has a nice effect and it echoes the free-flowing effect of the wet on wet technique. You can also apply gold along the natural color ridges that formed in the watercolor. You can highlight bits of the edge of your stone or add tiny eye-catching speckles. So there are all kinds of options. Just pick a few and play. All right, I think that's good for the gold detailing. I'm just going to go back to my first stone and add a little more shadow underneath some of these little ridges of gold. I just think it'll add more dimension to my stone. So feel free to make any last minute adjustments or just let it be. All right, I think that looks great. Now let's boop, cut them apart, just like magic. So if you've made it to the end of this video, I hope you are feeling relaxed, that you feel comfortable with the wet on wet technique, and that you now have a couple of beautiful pieces of artwork to hang in your home or share as gifts. As always, thank you so much for creating with me today. Until next time, take care.